Magomed Abdusalamov, Nick Blackwell, right? I got another name. Edward Gutknecht, right? And Mike Towell. Doma Sports Talk worldwide. And want to say a few words about boxing. What do I say always? You ain't in a rush to get concussed. At least you shouldn't be. These names that I mentioned have suffered serious injury due to boxing lately, right? Abdusalamov probably hasn't gotten his faculties back. Wish him well. Hope he does, right? He's not the same. That's been about a year and a half or two. Um, Edward Gutknecht, he's still in a coma. Had a fight last week. Fell into a coma after that fight, right? Who else we got? Nick Blackwell. You guys would know he had a fight with Chris Eubank early in the year. Fell into a coma, right? Luckily, he came out of the coma, but he won't fight again. The man's 25 years old. Maybe he's turned 26 since then, right? And Mike Towell passed away after a fight late September, early October, where he was knocked down in round two, got back up, and the fight was stopped after he was knocked down again in round five. He lost his life, right? All of these guys were in barn burners, were getting hit a lot, getting up, and showing what we call in the box community courage and things like that. But they're also examples of what can happen in a boxing match, right? What can happen in a boxing match. So what I'm trying to say is fans, we have to understand what we're watching and what we're asking some of these fighters to do, right? Another name of a guy is Cuban Mosk, 22-year-old guy from Great Britain. He's in a coma now. And this was his first fight. He trained hard for this fight, and he got knocked out in his first fight, unconscious, and he's still in a coma, right? What I'm trying to say is, when we ask these guys to fight and show courage, some of these things that we're asking that are outlandish, to put it mildly, uh, we have to check ourselves what we want. Some of these people that go to these fights, if you're paying $1,000, $500, $1,500, $2,000, whatever you're paying, then I would assume that you're knowledgeable. I would assume that you understand what you're watching. Sometimes we're asking, and this is when it really showed me what's going on. It was a fight between Victor Postol and Terence Crawford not too long ago. I think it was October. And Terence Crawford dominated this fight, 11 rounds, right? I think if he lost one, somebody holler at me, maybe one round, right? Dominated the guy. So in round 12, took his foot off the gas, danced around a little bit, picked a little bit, and even in round 12, he stood for a while. But there were boos. There were boos from people in the audience. Now, one would hope that they were booing the guy who didn't get to the other guy 11 rounds, 11 rounds. Or were you really booing the guy who in the 12th round had won by a landslide with nothing else to prove? Are you asking him to actually stand there and try to fight a guy at that point? If you didn't get your money's worth in 11 rounds, then one more round that gonna hurt you. And if you were at that fight and you paid money over $20, then you should be knowledgeable of what you're watching. We shouldn't ask somebody to stand in round 12, a fight that he is winning by far with nothing else to prove, total dominance. That would be almost ludicrous. I think Ludacris would even say that was ludicrous. right? So we should stop asking fighters to do things that you know you're damn well that you wouldn't do. And there's where the problem lies. We shouldn't ask fighters to do things like that because you're going into the point where let's ask ourselves, are you gonna visit them? You know? And another thing is some of the fighters should go and say, hey, you know something? Let me make seven figures a few times instead of trying to get eight figures one time minus the hospital bills. So what I'm trying to say is like, did anybody see the fight between Timothy Bradley and Ruslan Provatnikov? Well, I'm going to do a video about that and about some things soon about that. But a short version is this. He didn't have to fight that way, but he was listening to what was going on, and Timothy Bradley got in that fight and fought that way, and was more than concussed. And it was probably unnecessary. You could have won that fight another way. So, they are fighting in a ring, and no one is running because they're being technical or trying to not get hit and hit the other guy. And some of these guys that are not working on their defense and take too many blows are suffering major injuries, and that's not what we want. I don't think it's a dark place sometimes in that boxing community, but I'm hoping that we're not wishing harm on anybody, and that's what's going on. So I just felt like we should go ahead. We don't want boxing banned, right? And if we don't want boxing banned because we love the sport, then we're going to start having to ask these fighters, let's be realistic in some of the things we're asking them. It is not PlayStation, right? So things happen to these people. There's lives, families, trainer teams, and everything that are investing in this. So I'm not saying, we want everybody to run around and be dancing and running from everybody. Oh, that's ridiculous. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm just saying we have to be careful what we ask for because this could be taken away from us if these tragic things continue to happen at this rate. People will start looking. In other sports, you get an elbow, you got to go through concussion protocol. I don't think nobody asked Tim Bradley to go to concussion protocol after that Provodnikov fight. We know you was concussed. Go get your rest on and here take some of this medication. You know what I mean? And well, you don't have to go to no protocol. The dude could barely talk. So what we're trying to say is we're not trying to get you guys hurt. I hope we're not trying to get you guys hurt. I have a lot more to say on this topic, but I'm not right now. But I think everybody feels me on this. We do not want boxing banned, right? So let's stop asking for outlandish things. It's really simple as that. You got it? Doma Sports Talk Worldwide. And I'm up out of here.